Okay, welcome back to the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. So, been working on getting the plates made up for the 6x6s we have here. So basically, we have the two holes that will tap on down into the concrete. We have holes drilled here to be able to run a couple of bolts through where the 6x6s will pocket in. These we just welded on top, so when we welded the bottom, it didn't twist in or out. So these are just braces. We'll pop those off shortly. We'll get this painted up, and then we'll work on getting them mounted. We have a little bit to do on our 6x6s, kind of get them squared up some before we put them in. But basically, we used an annular bit. We welded all of these together. I have a picture of that I'll throw in. But welded all these together and have an annular bit that we drilled through all these so that they're all the same height, so we didn't, have something messed up, so that the bolt will definitely go through. And yeah, so we'll work on probably doing that today. It's kind of drizzly out, so hopefully that kind of knocks off. But we'll work on getting that hopefully set today. Alright, we got our 6x6s on the mill here. So the bracket that we made is 5.5. So, and we have a little bit of discrepancy in these, so we're going to mill all of them so that they're even on one side, and then we'll go back through, flip them, and get them all so that they're right at 5.5, so that they'll go in our bracket. So 5.5 is the smallest. That gives us about 1/8 of an inch of play. Kind of move it back and forth, and then we have those pins we'll bore through, and then bolt everything together. So that's what we're doing with the mill, is getting these 6x6s finalized so that they go in our brackets that we made. Okay, we got another log on the mill, so another red oak. We need 2 more rafters, so we're going to work on getting rafters cut out of these. Got one flat side, worked on the other one, got a little bit of a banana, so working on getting it squared up so we can get some boards out. Okay, so it's kind of behind the water line there, but basically you see we're measuring. So here we're measuring the bark distance from the bottom all the way down to the concrete. Because the concrete's fairly level, we can measure the concrete up on the log and make a mark and see where that's where we need to cut to be able to get rid of the bark further down. So having the concrete really helps for that purpose because we're able to measure off the concrete to get some of our distances and not have to guess as much whenever we make our cuts. Okay, next up here we are loading on a piece of sycamore that we had. So more than anything, we just wanted to try to cut some of this. We have lots of sycamore at the 100 acres, so we just wanted to try to cut it and see how it does. The best way to cut the sycamore is quarter saw, so that's kind of the process that we're doing here, is trying our hand at quarter sawing. There's a lot of channels that go into a lot more depth of quarter sawing, but the basic idea behind it is always cutting 90 degrees to the grain. So basically you get it in the 4 quarters, and then you're always cutting 90 degrees to the grain. So that's why you continue to rotate to ensure you're getting that 90 degree cut, and you're optimizing the boards then by rotating. So for the quarter saw to be effective, you really need to cut from the bottom up. So here we're cutting out 1 inch thick pieces and then rotating each time. So what we're doing here is we take a cut off the bottom and then we move the log off to the side so we can run the mill back. This way we don't have to continue to change the height of the mill. We can just leave it at that same size, and we're trying to guess the thickness. So this kind of ensures that we have the same thickness board every time we cut instead of having to run it up and down. then here's a better example of what I was talking about, where we take it on and off the mill. So we cut a piece, move it off to the side, then put it back on the mill, rotate it 90 degrees, and this way you can just continue to cut pieces off of it, and without adjusting the height of the mill, having to go over it, we're not adjusting the thickness of the boards. Once we kind of have the process figured out, we figured that we could put two on, just have the two flat sides together and clamp it together. So using these clamps, there's a notch on the bottom to where you can clamp it at the very bottom so that nothing is sticking above the rail height. That way you ensure you're not getting into any metal whenever you're cutting that close to the bed. So this sycamore is pretty straight and pretty small, so we didn't end up with a lot of waste on this one, but in theory you could end up with more waste on a quarter saw board, just because of how you're having to rotate it, and then once you get down to small quarters, you're getting pretty thin boards to where it's not as beneficial. So potentially there's more waste here, but overall it's not too bad. So we tested out cutting up a sycamore by doing a quarter saw. So these are some of the boards we got from that. It's more just a kind of a trial thing. We've never done the quarter saw, and we've heard that sycamore likes that a little bit better for like drying purposes. You also get quite a bit of the flecking in it. You can see that on some of these bottom boards. So turned out to be okay. So the thing with the quarter saw is you end up with lots of different kind of size pieces, width wise, just because you keep rotating it so it keeps getting smaller. But turned out fairly well. Thing we did before that were some of these 3x4 pieces. They have a little bit of a twist to them, but we should be able to get most of that out with clamps whenever we put it up. So we got, I think, all of our rafter pieces now. So we have those, have this, and that's just kind of for playing, testing that out. So another productive day, getting some stuff done. In between, we've been working on getting the paint done on the metal pieces, so we should have that done pretty soon. Okay, I got these in drying, got them painted. Need to put one more coat on them just to make sure I didn't miss a spot. But can't see a spot there. But this is what we got. We're gonna put little pieces of poly on the bottom here so that the wood that's not treated, since it's our own cut stuff, isn't touching the metal. So it'll be a piece of plastic basically. We'll put on the bottom, drill a hole in, and that'll also act as a spacer for the head of this bolt that we run down. So we have those there. So I'm gonna do another touch of paint, and then hopefully this weekend we'll work on getting these attached and get the post up. And then once we have the post up, we can work on getting the LVLs set in the top of the post. And from there, it'll be putting the rafters up, so it'll be pretty quick after that. Thank you for watching the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. Keep watching the channel to see updates on building the building around the sawmill. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.